Considering this Einstein's model, we can apply rotation. So when we apply rotation, we can have a stable model in which it is having a homogeneous and isotropic structure. We can estimate. But thing is, when Hubble sir made this particular interpretation that redshift is a measure of expansion, that I want to say it is not that one. So it is completely a measure of rate of increase in redshift is a measure of particular expansion. So with these two ideas, one can go for a rotating model. So this is my basic idea, sir. So when we go for rotating model, people will ask, what is the velocity of rotation? Generally people will ask, that is the basic question to answer. So here, what I am suggesting is, right from its beginning to its end, consider it as a light speed. So that whatever estimation we made, either in the past, either in present or in future, it will not give any deviation in our experiments. Why? Because it is always rotating with light speed. So even if you go for inflation phenomena, what they say, there was a hot Big Bang, and with that hot Big Bang, what's happening? There is some inflation in the sense, a rapid expansion. Even if they say like that also, this rapid expansion means by that time space is traveling greater than the light speed. Here also, they say they are contradicting the basic principle of special relativity. Expression for temperature of that particular rotating object, normal thing, where V represents the rotational velocity. From special theory, we are having a limit on particular velocity. That means what? When we go for extreme velocity, light speed, that expression becomes hc cube by normal thing. This is the expression derived by Dr. Hawking sir for a black hole temperature. That too, when the black hole is having no rotation at all. See sir, here these are the two conditions that I want to express. This is the one expression. This is the another final expression. In this rotating picture is coming, and that too with light speed, where Hawking sir proposes an expression which is having no rotation at all. That means what? When we deal with the two different assumptions and one people will arrive at the same particular thing, it must be analyzed. It may be wrong or it may be right. I am expressing my proposal here. But when people show interest in this one, certainly the fact will come out whether a black hole is rotating or not. If the galaxy is receding fast from the cosmic center, the observer sitting at the cosmic center will find a rapid increase in redshift. When we go for a analysis on cosmic temperature, thing is that there is no need for the observer to sit at a particular cosmic center. At any place in the universe, he can sit and he can measure the change in drop in temperature. If drop in temperature is more, he can say it is an acceleration. If drop in temperature is uniform, we can say uniform receding, and there is no change, we can say there is no expansion at all. If we consider universe as a rigid sphere, then galaxy revolution with constant angular velocity about the cosmic center may be referred to rotation of the universe as a rigid sphere. Here you can put a question. When mass density is having 10 power minus 31 kilo, minus 31 kg, but this, out of this one, how can you say universe is having a rigid structure? That rigid structure can be maintained by the fundamental force C power 4 by Z. It is the classical limit. That means what? Even string theory says, and quantum gravitational theory says, vacuum is having loops are having strong bonding. That strong bonding can be expressed with the parameter C power 4 by G.
One of the contributions, the major contributions of astronomy to human civilization is that fact that repeatability exists. A prehistoric man in here and around in India, how did he go about conceiving the passage of time, passage of seasons? How did he conceive the year is over or a month is over? And what tools did he use? So this is where I was interested in, and things which remain for a long time, the tools are the stones. And that's how megaliths come into my interest. As it coming to the calendric astronomy, I will be talking about mostly about the sun going around, the apparent sun going around the earth. And as a result, you see the sun rising in its winter solstice in this one edge of the horizon, on summer solstice the other edge of the horizon. In between you see equinox, when that is night and day are equal, when the motion on the horizon is fastest for the solar region, where you can see the markings of the stones. and the horizons are very clear, no trees, no nothing. And this is the same picture, same alignment, recently taken, full of trees. It shows you where your horizon, where the sun solar image would be on the horizon. So that is very, very much in line. And one can determine roughly what accuracy we can see that. It's about half a solar radius. That's about a quarter of a degree. They do mark the directions properly and calendaric wise. Now you can date, you can make a calendar from this arrangement. You can go and view where the sun is on the horizon, here, there, and so on and so forth. The banks of Krishna River. And this is the place where these are called Niluralu in Telugu, standing stones. And there are megalithic and remnants here, stone circles and avenues and so on. All of them are smaller, these things. This is in between, very prominent place with huge stones lying around. Surveyed this and made some measurements, and these are our measurements. It's not obvious that you have arrays and so on from here, but we again determined north-south lines, and by this. This is a Google map of that same structure. These dark patches are the standing stones. The white patches are the fallen stones. Same thing as here, which was the whitish unfilled patches are the fallen stones, and the ones which are filled in are the standing stones. And there are also, as I was saying, Mesolithic. These are the stone tools which were used by ancient man. And these are various tools which you collected, and you can see they're right on the site itself. This gives you the lower limit for estimation of an age. This is how we determine the north-south line by shadows of the sun. And we did determine the north-south line. For example, in this structure, this is that arrow indicates the north-south line. And these stones, for example, are in a kind of an array and indicating north-south. So you can see that line is this line.
Here is the Big Bang, which everyone know, and in the morning session we got some ideas regarding the Big Bang. And after the Big Bang, what happens is the particles that ejected from the Big Bang that move with a great velocity to the extent to which it can travel. And here I have some idea regarding what happened before the Big Bang. So that is the figure that I made with the blue and green color. So what is that figure? So that is this nut. It looks like a walnut. What actually it is so after Big Bang is not the creation of the universe, but it is the expansion of the universe. Every object whose temperature is greater than the absolute zero temperature will emit some radiation. That is the basic law of the thermodynamics, basic property, I mean the basic tenet of the thermodynamics. So that I applied here, and this is the state of the universe before the Big Bang, where it exists at absolute zero temperature. And it doesn't exhibit absolute zero temperature or less than that, which is till now we don't know actually what is this absolute zero temperature. And how it exhibits is, at absolute zero temperature, all the metals acts like a superconductors. They conduct electricity with zero resistance. They conduct electricity. So what happens in that superconductor is the magnetic field is not present. It is excluded as I shown there, and each component of electromagnetic field is splitted. With the universe, entropy plays very important role, and that is what is known as cosmological entropy. So this is one of the plot regarding the cosmological entropy versus time of the universe. It was seen that the entropy of the universe at the beginning, before the beginning, is zero, and after that it increases and again it decreases.
In Indian literature texts, which date back to a number of thousands of years ago, there has always been this question about how did this universe come to be. And one of the rishis, Rishi Prajapati Parameshti, in his work in the Rig Veda, in the Nasadya Sukta, has given an answer, and he talks about it as a cosmic egg, which is a Hiranyagarbha. So in the Veda, there is a term for this cosmic egg, and they call it Hiranyagarbha, which is a golden glow. And it is from this they talk about a big bang called Brahmanda Visfotak, from which comes out the universe. The very word Bra means to expand. And we're talking about an expanding universe, and Brahma here sitting on a lotus and with a swan just moving away. You know, this is how we denote Brahma always. So he's symbolic of the very expansion of the universe, the state of expansion after the state of Padmanabha. We are faced with two major questions. One, is the universe static, expanding, contracting? We ourselves have been having a lot of debates here today morning. And what happened in the cosmic egg before the Big Bang? This is what we are all now very curious to know. What happened before and what is going to be happening in the future? Where is this universe going to go? So let's take the first question of the future. Is this universe static, expanding, or contracting? You connect Akasha with sound as sound travels through space, and you have Vayu. Now when you come to Vayu, which is wind, you have both sound, which is Shabda, and Sparsha. Sparsha is touch. So Vayu is an element which is both felt and heard. Then you go on to Tejas or Agni, and here you start seeing. You have no longer been able to see space or air, but here you start seeing fire. So it's got Rupa as well. Then you go to Apaha, which is waters, and with that you get into the next experience, which is Rasa or taste. And from there you finally come down to Prithvi or the earth. And with earth you have the experience of smell. So in fact you can actually smell the earth when there is rain that has fallen on dry ground. So with these 5 elements on the material form, you are also finding a very close association with experiences or all that is subtle. During Panchikaranam, which is the interplay of 5, there's a very, very clear description, very mathematical also, as to how the percentages get mixed up, one from the other. So they talk about how each of them end up finally having properties of all the other 4 as well within them. And that is how the universe slowly starts evolving.
A superhuman controlling the sun and the moon, and this kind of rock art has been seen in other civilizations also, dated to few tens of thousands of years of BC, but this particular piece is not dated. But you can see that these kind of beliefs of a super god or super being who controls everything in the skies comes very early in human history. The human intellectual growth from this time onwards would essentially be in 4 different ways. There would be myths which would feed to their lives. There would be astronomy and other sciences which would help them grow. There would be myths, megaliths and other architectural structures which would grow for a variety of reasons. And the last but not the least is the formalization of religion and religious ideas. And together, if you study them, you get a pretty good idea about what human intellectual growth must have been from time immemorial. Myths help you kind of solace and a comfort in what is happening. For example, in Hinduism, we have this traditional idea that the dead don't go away, that ancestors, gods, and human beings make a nice triangular relation, and each has to look after the other, each has to feed the other, in order that all 3 of them may look, sort of be happy, as it were. But this triangular relation, especially involving ancestors, not letting them go away after they have passed away, but they essentially remain there until about 7 generations. Astronomy relates to skies and heavens, rains and other seasons that have their effects. The night sky has a degree of stability about it which is phenomenal, because only when the sun rises in a particular constellation will you have monsoon and so on and so forth. The sun and moon and their interplay, the phases of the sun and the moon and so on and so forth, are themselves very fascinating. Planets, comets, and other things that come occasionally in the sky also provide an interesting background of study, and together they seem to control all our life-giving forces, and therefore they are of interest per se. What I want to therefore summarize is that human relation with environments are a fairly complex one. Humans have struggled to understand the universe and its causality and where it came from and where it is headed, and all kinds of interesting speculations can be found. The uncertainties of life, monsoon, and death have further complicated the matter and therefore further evolved human approach to life and universe. And a variety of structures are made. A collection of parameters therefore have created a nice, beautiful, complicated structure, which is something very delightful to look at. The modern man, of course, looks at the whole thing very differently.
Regarding the universe, he thinks like this. What is the origin of the universe? Where from it came? And how it is being sustained? And where it goes during destruction? These are the problems which troubles a thinking man. And these are some of the issues which we have to know as human beings. And regarding the origin of the universe, Sankhya says and opts for evolution of Prakriti, Prakriti Parinama. And Sankhya, to start with, Sankhya Yoga is a dualistic system which believes in two realities, that is Purusha and Prakriti, which are eternal and equally real. And it is a realistic system in the sense that it believes in the reality of the world. World is not Mithya or Maya like Sankara believes according to Sankhya Yoga. So it deals with the cosmic evolution, that is conservation, transformation and dissipation will occur during this evolution into cosmos. There are, as I told you, there are three gunas, that is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And before starting the process of evolution, the Prakriti is having these three gunas but in an equilibrated state. What disturbs this equilibrated state of the gunas? Purusha comes nearer to Prakriti. As and when Purusha comes nearer to Prakriti, the Purusha being a conscious principle, its consciousness reflections will fall on Prakriti so that the disturbance in the equilibrium of the gunas takes place naturally. So mainly the reason is, according to Sankhya, classical Sankhya believes that the Purusha's reflections are the reason are the one which disturbs the equilibrated state of the gunas of Prakriti. Even Prakriti, after producing all types of evolutes, it desists itself into itself. So this is what I would like to say regarding involution. So to summarize, evolution of cosmos is teleological, is purposive but not mechanical. Not simply physical products are coming up, but even psychological products also you can see during the process of evolution.
Big Bang theory, the whole universe began with a mighty explosion, primordial cosmic egg. The genesis of space, that is Dik and time took place at this Big Bang. Sankhya's Parinamavada is in good connection with this. As ma'am said, Prakriti is considered the cause of the cosmic evolution. See, from the modern physics point of view, we know that the matter is made of atoms. The atoms are constituted of electrons, protons and neutrons. The protons and neutrons themselves are made up of particles called quarks. Apart from these particles, matter particles, there are many other matter particles and a good number of force-mediating particles. Now, according to the Vaisheshika school, all objects in nature are made up of tiniest, indivisible, invisible, indestructible and eternal particles called Paramanu. They are like the elementary particles of the modern physics. So to form at least an atom, you require three particles, except for some cosmological cases like the neutron stars, where most of the star is made up of neutrons. Similarly, in the constitution of Prakriti, it is necessary condition for the dynamical equilibrium of the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Prakriti is impossible without any one of these constituents, but still Prakriti is the ultimate cause and not the gunas. Now, modern investigation, however, indicated that space and time are actually parts of the same continuum, which scientists refer to as the space-time or the space-time continuum or the Minkowski's space-time continuum. Space and time are not absolute. They are relative. See, some of the darshanas say the Sankhya and the Vaisheshika, even sometimes Nyaya, are very much open to the existence of countless universes with their own universals, which is very much agreement in modern hypothesis of the multiverse. That is, many universes. What is this multiverse? This multiverse is an hypothetical set of multiple possible universes that together comprise everything that exists.
Vedanta has evolved theory of transformation, going detailed analysis of how or in what way the eternal space transformed itself into the universe. And Maharishi explains in detail the electrons and biomagnetism, how they function in living beings and how the mind really works also. So with this, the paper presents deep contemplative analysis of existing theories and Vedanta's theory of transformation. So thus we are getting the missing link gets solved. Our missing link is getting solved. So Vedanta's theory is also so simple, so convincing. He puts forward his revelation. Eternal space, the primordial state known as Brahman, is having self-compressive surrounding pressure force and consciousness inherent qualities and inseparable from it. So eternal space with self-compressive force and consciousness as inherent qualities blossomed as primary energy particle, as natural phenomena. Nobody helped, nobody did it, nobody was there to do it. It all came or it all blossomed by itself. For the question how it blossomed, he details by congestion of its own pressure. Its own pressure originated in infinitesimal particle by self-rotation. See, this is what is the most important here, self-rotation. That's how it is getting mass. Or rather self-whirling, because it is a space itself, we cannot say rotating. Rotating is a two-scale, that's two-dimensional. So it is four-dimensional or three-dimensional, it is whirling of a small fragment of space. Hence, in my opinion, this self-rotational aspect of a fragment of eternal mass is nothing but what we always been calling as conditioning of Brahman.
Concept of Brahmanda and Panchabhutas, this was one of the first ones that came into the creation of the universe and the cosmological models, and we see parallels of this in both the Buddhist and Jainism philosophies also. This is one of the ancient texts, the Shulba Sutras. There are 3 Agnis that are described here. So this is A, G and D. This is Ahavaniya, this is Garhapatya and this is Dakshinagni. Manastamba is a pillar like this which you will invariably see in every Jain temple, and they are spread all over India. And how that model is interpreted here, so this is a palm leaf design of the Manastamba, and the specific dimensions and scales are provided. Now we look for some signatures of this kind of a interpretation in some old towns. So I chosen Varanasi here. There are 13 sun temples in Varanasi, and there is a locations. So each has a different name. Lolarka is here, and this is called Aditya, and this is Uttaraka. So those are the names of the suns in the sun temple. This is the Sringeri temple, where again there was an attempt to fix the solstices, and the pillars here are for fixing the light entering from here to follow these things. So as is popularly believed, the pillars here do not represent that the sun rays fall on a particular pillar for which the zodiacal emblem is created, but it is for fixing winter and summer solstices. So that was the purpose of the temple there.
I confine myself to primarily the movements of the planets